Hi everyone, let's talk about Nemo's War 2nd Edition, which I've just finished a great big playthrough for. If you would like to see the game in action and all of the lovely story and dice rolling stuff, it's all in that playthrough video. It's linked in the description. This is just what I think about it, if you would like to know that. Here is that. So, yeah, when it first came out, Rach and I got it. We kind of didn't really get our heads around it that much, and yeah, it kind of faded into the background. And last year, when I was kind of laid up and not really able to play games for a little bit, I was on the Gaming Rules channel on a stream that Paul invited me to play this on Tabletop Simulator. So you can watch that as well if you'd like to see some more boaty action, where you can play this as a cooperative game. And it's one of those things that kind of keeps coming back that, oh, you should give it another go, you should get hold of it and give it another go. And I finally have, and have been playing some solo games with it. And yeah, it's a very different kind of solo game. I really enjoy it, with a couple of caveats that I'll come out in a little bit. But the system of gambling your resources I find really interesting. It is still, especially as someone who prefers not entirely deterministic, but maybe not quite so much randomness, not all about the dice. I really enjoy this system. It could go completely wrong for you if you're just really unlucky in a game and you're rolling double ones and stuff. There's not very much you can do about that, and you will get these terrible results. You will be spending your resources and be at risk of stuff in these, but that is kind of what the higher difficulties are for as well, and you will have to take more of these rest and repair actions and such like to try and keep yourself in the game, never mind trying to go for that perfect score, just so that you are in it. And there's a lot of consideration about that as well on what you want to do. Some of it is determined by you can't be searching for treasure if there aren't crystals anywhere about, but you could just sit there adventuring if you like, but you can't, because you've got to be aware of these seas filling up as you kind of leave the ships alone, which you will be more inclined to do based on your motive. I just wanted to explore around, but if at a certain point none of these things can be done for placing ships, all of these hidden tokens will get replaced with ships in the end, and then non-warships will get turned into warships, and everything will get more and more worrying. Eventually you will lose the game if you just let them build up. But then fighting all the ships gives you notoriety, and you'll lose the game if you take too much of that as well. So yeah, it's a really lovely balancing act between all of the stuff. And at the same time, you've got these adventures, one every turn, but also the ones coming out of the adventure deck, if you choose to take that action, that are, it's full of positive and negative events. Plenty that will require you to perform a test as well, that you can exert things for gambling your resources again. So you will always get them back if you succeeded at the thing, which encourages you as well to, maybe I'll throw this extra thing. I can use treasure for this action. Maybe I should give up a couple of points to try and make it more likely that this action will succeed, or I'll get the best outcome because I haven't got enough salvage to do this upgrade. So I'm relying on getting that one discount. Otherwise, I have completely wasted my action points. There are a ton of adventures in the game. So the order loads of them are going to come out will make a big difference, and which ones are in your, you will have to experience these versus the adventure deck. The expansions have added more stuff. Have added miss one H and added another one where it doesn't belong. They've added more adventure cards, some of which would have been mixed in the playthrough. More Nautilus upgrades. There's Deadly Seas tokens, all sorts of things to adjust the difficulty of the game and provide more variety, and use all of that stuff, because I'm definitely not experienced enough to be judging how I want the difficulty to be. Though we managed kind of okay on a fairly normal difficulty, I think, but hey, that's for the playthrough. I think, yeah, I would expect from kind of just looking at a playthrough or something of the game, I would think that there would have been too much dice. It's roll to resolve. It's something that I don't tend to like in games. But I think with there being so much stuff you can spend that's not that consequential, it's not like I am spending a ton of stuff all of the time to realise that, I didn't need to use all of that. Like, if you just lost all of this stuff every time, you're like, well, I didn't even need it, and now I'm at risk of losing the game because of it. That would be really frustrating. You can, be wasting a load of points, but it's kind of been your decision that I really need to succeed at this thing. But between your characters, between a lot of the keep cards that you might encounter that will help you with your rolls, and the way that you kind of gamble these and get them back if you succeed, giving you more incentive to spend more things to ensure you do succeed, I feel like there is enough kind of mixed together in there. There's plenty of peril, especially with fighting the ships, some of the tougher tests that come out of there. But yeah, I would say that it manages to get a really interesting and different system out of rolling 2d6 to resolve your action. The one downside about it is the length of it. And maybe that's partly because, there's story involved, you're reading the flavor text and all of that stuff, and maybe that would go away with further plays. But I do like the story aspect of it, even though, as I said in the playthrough, I haven't read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Checking that's the right number of leagues now. Maybe I should to get a little bit more out of it. But I enjoy the flavour that comes from these adventures and how it's structured as well, that it's these kind of snippets of story that do manage to make a vaguely cohesive narrative throughout the game, just through a load of random cards that the effects of the events themselves will have varying impacts depending on when they come out in the game. But it's cool how the story just goes. So it would go faster if you're kind of really used to it and you're just skipping through all of that stuff. But I feel like the game would lose a little bit from not having that flavor text elements in it as well. But yeah, I'd say that I'm still kind of, I've played it a few times now, but I would still say, yeah, I'm a beginner with the game, and it takes me close to, like, I'd say 2.5, 3 hours. Maybe be getting that down to 2 hours, maybe under 2 hours, but it's still fairly hefty. There's it's a fairly set up heavy one to get into, so it is a big this is the night's game if you want to play it. It's still it just manages to. I still want to work all of this out. It's maybe one that, and I've done a couple of times with my plays. It's one that I play an hour or so of one night and then come back to it again another night. Hopefully, if I don't need this table for filming something else. So yeah, that's one thing, but it's the game as well. It would lose. You can't just chop off a load of cards in it because of the way everything, in terms of the more ships coming in terms of the rising action card and all of that stuff, it's all kind of designed for the game to be this length. So it's not just an easy fix with that, but yeah, it's a bit of a hefty one in that respect. And yeah, it's first impressions kind of age, but I do kind of wonder how much sheen the cards themselves and the story that tells will have. What you're doing as well is telling the story and adding to it, sure, and the game does come with more in expansions, and there is like a big Ultimate Edition on its way at some point, I think, but the game does come with its motives, which is a really nice thing for replayability as well, because all of this stuff can come out very differently, the ships, the adventures, all of that stuff, but what you are interested in can change massively based on what your motives are. So if you are really into war, you'll be wanting to take out warships all the time and getting no like extra points for getting treasure, and you will get you'll be penalized a little bit for treasure cards, so you're less incentivized to spend all your stuff passing all of these cards and going on extra adventures. You just want to be out here fighting things, getting those upgrades if they come out that will help you. As the steam torpedoes, fantastic if they last, but getting improved hull to stop things hitting you as much, or this magnetic mines that came out right at the end of my game means that you attack before warships that would attack you first, or the armoured ones anyway. So if that came out really early on, could really change the tide of the game. But that's all fits into the variability of it. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, I really enjoy the experience of it. It maybe wears out its welcome a little bit in the last kind of half hour or so of the games. And I don't find that in games like, say, Mage Knight, that is at least that. For a chunky game of Mage Knight Solo, 3 hours is probably a fairly swift game of it, unless you're playing it on Tabletop Simulator or something. Same as this would probably be sped up by having Tabletop Simulator set it all up for you. But hey, it's all about the cardboard, isn't it? But yeah, Mage Knight still I'm still right at the very end of it, trying to work out how to do it all, trying to puzzle out that hand of cards and stuff. Vastly different games, but talking about solo experiences, I'm still engaged by the very end. I'm completely worn out by it, but I'm kind of thinking towards the end of Nemo's War, I'm definitely ready for this to be over. Is the finale card at the top of these 5? I know sometimes you are hoping for that one more turn to eke out those extra points, but yeah, that's maybe my main criticism of it, because the things that I thought that I would have a problem with, I absolutely don't. The dice work lovely, and the story is nice. The epilogue book is a nice touch. The artwork is lovely and thematic. I haven't had the first edition. I've just seen pictures of it online, but yeah, a vast improvement on that. Yeah, the playthrough is there though, rather than anything that I said. It's really hot in this room, and I've just played this game. I'm all melty. Yeah. Slickerdrips shirts are available, sirmeeple.com. Thank you very much for watching this though, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye everyone.